Hey, future pilot. Welcome on day 4 of the 7 days to ATPL productivity, our daily series on mastering the art of productive studying for your ATPL exams. Every day, I am sharing tips and tricks on how to make your study as short and as enjoyable as possible. I'm Sultan from CaptainSultan.com, and like many of you, I've been exactly where you are now. Excited, a bit overwhelmed, and ready to take on the challenge of becoming a professional pilot. I've made many mistakes along the way, and my goal is to help you avoid making those same mistakes. So let's take off. So welcome back. In this video, we're going to unlock the secrets of using question banks effectively for your ATPL exams. When I first started my ATPL preparation, I underestimated the value of the question banks. It was only later that I realized their true potential. I started late, but once I got the hang of it, question banks become my go-to tool for testing my knowledge and identifying weak areas. And I'm not alone. I recently ran a survey with past ATPL students that told me the same thing. They started way too late using the question banks. So advice number 1. Don't limit yourself to one question bank. There are multiple question banks on the market, and I would really advise you to look around. Just shop around, take 2-3 hours to maybe do some trial with a couple of question banks. Look at how do they provide you feedback, how easy they are to use, but also how do they explain the answers. You will see there are some huge differences in the way you get the answers. You have some question banks that will go in big details about the answers for each questions, while some other one would just give you the answer to the question. And it's important that you find a format that works for you. It is also important to know that even though a question bank might have the most questions available, it might be that they miss some questions. And that's something I realized also way too late, is that I was using aviationexam.com, and I realized later that BGS Online also had some questions that were not in aviation exam. So it's always good to have 2 sources to make sure that you don't miss anything. Advice number 2, practice regularly. Question banks need to become part of your daily routine. Don't wait until the last minute. You are not running a sprint, you are running a marathon. By practicing regularly, you will become familiar with the exam format and the question types. What is also important for you is to review the incorrect answers after each session. And not just focus on the right answer, but understand why the other options were wrong. Because if you are able to explain why the right answer to the question is A, but you can also explain why it's not B, C, or D, then you get to a level of mastery that is what you need to pass your ATPL exam. Advice number 3. You need to remember it's not about memorizing and cramming questions into your head, but really to understand the concepts behind the questions. Some questions might be curveballs that might surprise you. And if you don't understand the concepts behind the question, you might have a hard time to understand and to provide the right answer. The ATPL exams test your knowledge and comprehension, not just your memory. Some of the material you'll be studying will be applicable in your job interview at an airline, or even when you are passing your instrument rating or your commercial pilot license. Advice number 4, even if you're using multiple question banks, you need to balance them with other study material. It should complement, not replace your textbooks, notes, and other learning tools. I know there are some people online that say you only need to study the question banks. I fully disagree on that. They're an important tool, but you cannot base your career and your learning just on cramming questions into your head. We all want to be better pilots, and becoming a better pilot means understanding the entire environment we deal with, including the technique, the rules, the planning, the legislation. So a final word. Remember that questions banks are a resource, not a crutch. Use them to complement your study material, not to replace them. They need to be part of a broader study strategy that includes active learning, spaced repetition, and deep work, as we discussed in the previous videos. In the next video, we'll talk about the importance of rest and breaks in your study routine. Until then, dive into those question banks, compare them, analyze your performance, keep sharpening your knowledge. Your dedication today is the key to your success in the cockpit tomorrow. Happy studying and see you there. Bye-bye.